Hello, welcome to Animal Audit Corner. This channel is about all the former Scientologists and all of their advocates with all the stories about not only them, but about the cult that they were once in, which is Scientology. We are going to have a look into their world and find out about the world. Here is their story. Jeffrey Augustine and his wife, Karen de la Cruz, were in Scientology for years when they met. Their place of residence is in an undisclosed area in California, where he has his own private investigation firm. Jeffrey is the host of the Money Project here on YouTube, where he has a spotlight on Scientology. Mr. Augustine's special guest 3 days ago was Jamie Mustard, who was the member of Scientology's Sea Org. Jamie spent part of his life in a living in a poor condition when he was in Scientology. When he was an infant, he would be taken out of a hospital and put into a separate room with other infants where he was neglected. And when he was taking care, it would be by one teenager and a bunch of 7-year-old changing his diaper. That's right. A 7-year-old child changing baby diapers. Isn't that the most disgusting thing you ever heard? And Jeffrey would always talk about Scientology and how they would use their money and how they got their money and how they would spend it through child labor and any other labor, whether in any age. He would be in there until he was old enough to visit his mother. But they didn't know his father, or who his father was. Well, close enough. Jamie, working as a slave labor, then made a huge change, is the greatest thing in the world. It is so impressive. He went from working slave labor to graduating London School of Economics. Jamie literally grew up practically illiterate. Then eventually he would work his way to the London School of Economics. Mentioned it again twice. He had received a master's degree in economic of slavery, which is a part of his undergrad. Since then, he has written 10 books, which hit the best sellers list. And his 10th book would be a repeat of his other successful books. Here is a clip. Sorry, wrong one. Let me try it again.
I use the word escape is because I had to literally escape. Scientology calls it an unauthorized departure, which indicates that
Uh, well, sorry, I couldn't find it. I lost it. So, okay. That was Claire Hadley, not Jamie Mustard. Anyways, since then, he has written 10 books, which would hit the best sellers list. And his 10th book would be a repeat, like I just mentioned. He did let L. Ron Hubbard economics creation stop him from learning and getting his degree. He was just literally self-taught. And then I guess eventually He went out and got a degree, which is so impressive. Jeffrey found it so interesting that when he was researching Scientology years of organized wealth through squeezing money out of people, when he was forcing and getting it from upper and middle class people. And now I guess the middle class is still around, but it's looks like it's going to head out the door anyways. With that organization, money is never enough when it comes to cleaning the plants. That's factories. 10 years later, by the time the 70s rolled around, it got even more worse when everything would get affordable for Hubbard. Jeffrey was not amused by Elron's scam. He would establish his own wealth through schemes. He would need slave labor. Then he gives everybody the idea that they were saving the world, where in reality, they weren't. He actually brainwashed them into thinking it. Then Jamie would say he wanted to extract money out of people by enslaving them through industrial workforce like manufactory, groundwork, and managers. So managers weren't even treated any better with themselves. They got treated the same way. After Jeffrey would say Hubbard wanted that workforce because he had declined to pay people. He had the intentions of control, and it was so brilliant that he would actually make up all these excuses not to pay them. The Office of Special Affairs is a fundamental work. They didn't even redirect anyone. They just kept on working those slave rages. And it really didn't matter what what everybody else thinks. L. Ron Hubbard wanted his pockets lined. Then, nevertheless, Mr. Augustine's special guest was Jamie Mustard, who was the member of Scientology's Sea Org. And Jeffrey would always talk about Scientology and how they spend their money and how they get their money. And that is through squeezing money out of the elite and low income people. And only the elite didn't have any clue that they were getting ripped off, because guess what? They made so much money that they never even asked questions. Then overall, Jamie would literally grow up practically illiterate. Then eventually he would work his way to London School of Economics, which is the most impressing thing that anyone can do. Then in conclusion, Jeffrey would say that Hubbard wanted that workforce because he had declined to pay people. He had the intentions of control and brilliant thinking. And he came up with everything that is going on in Scientology by getting people to think that they're saving the world by working slave labor, recruiting people into being in slave labor, which was a real trick of its own. Which it was a trick of his own. And getting in with the members of Congress and politicians to schmooze and wine and dine him with the elite, especially celebrities like actors, rock stars, anybody. Which was so brilliant of its own. He was an evil genius, let's face it. And then all in all, he was just good at making his schemes come alive. Then in conclusion, Jeff would I already said that. But that'll do it for that story. Now, did I actually check back with SPTV space? Well, no, but I still think that Buffett Squirrel did not put me in that space at all. So, you know what? I'm gonna have to replan my route, but you guys will definitely will always see me. So it looks like I have to post my announcements somewhere else, since I know I'm not gonna actually be on SPTV Space. I did email her and asked her nicely to please put me on that site. I told her I actually do clips 7 days a week. And her response is, "Well, then stop doing it." No. Well, guess what? I'm not gonna stop doing this. I enjoy it so much, but at the same time, I get tired. So it just wears me down sometimes. So I'm gonna have to come up with another way of getting other people to know about my channel, the SPTV channel, that I'm trying to get into the SPTV community. So it's 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 hard when you're doing it 7 days a week and there's only very few people that see it. Although I know some of you go onto the space anyway, onto my channel anyway, and thank you so much for that. So I'll find a way to either be on that space, whether it's going to Aaron or maybe talking to Natalie. Well, actually, Natalie hasn't been on that channel as much, but she is trying to get on there. And she is the next story that I want to do. And she has the right personality to be on any screen. And Aaron, he is great. And his face was the first face I saw when I was doing research for a book that's almost done. It literally took me at least 4 years to do it. But then I was on my last story. It's a book of short story. I was on my last story when I got hacked and everything disappeared. Well, my clips that talked about that I was talking about Scientology just disappeared. And we all know who did it. I was sort of fair gamed, but at the same time, nobody is outside my door. Well, isn't that a hoot? They can't find me, so I'm gonna keep it that way. And I had my Chromebook fixed so nobody can break into it and hack me ever again. And it looks like I'm gonna have to keep it for a while since I can't download the studio in my other Chromebook because my brother placed a parental control on it, which was I could just kill him for that, but you know what? There's nothing you can do about it. Well, I'm gonna see what I can do about it. But if I can't do anything about it, then guess what? I'm gonna have to keep this laptop for a while. And then I realized next time I want to do something, I'm gonna do it myself because I am trying to learn how to open up a Chromebook. So it looks like I can just call the company that makes the Chromebook, which is Hewlett Packard. So, and yeah, and it's a very old. I got my Chromebook in 2019. This is 2005. But yeah, I'm gonna keep it for a while since I can't download anything into my computer. And that includes YouTube Studio, which I would have to work out of to get the stories to you, to get up. It is unbelievably crazy that this happened to me. So, since then, Hewlett Packard fixed up my computer. Nobody's able to hack into it ever again. But just in case my brother didn't get my other one fixed, then maybe I'll see about what I can do to keep it from getting hacked. But the computer that I'm front of now, no one can hack into it ever again. So Scientology's can't manage to hack into it again. How do I know it's them? Because so far the only content I did was Scientology, even though I did one piece on Jehovah's Witnesses. All right, that should do it. As you know, I am now in the Buy Me a Coffee program. So, buy me a coffee, but if you can't afford it, you won't have to buy me anything. Just show up. And I'm not going to ask any questions about it. So, buy me coffee. Hit the like, press subscribe. And you know what? I don't know if I'm going to be on here tomorrow, but I'm going to take the wait and see approach. But check it anyway. But we'll see. So hit the like, press subscribe, and buy me a coffee if you can afford it. Bye.